Hey everyone, today I'm going to be making an 8-bar drum loop and I'll just be showing you my process for doing that. So I'm going to be mostly using the step components trigger spark, component spark, parameter spark, and jump, these last four. I'll probably use these others at some point, or a few of them, but those are going to be the main things that allow me to make this last 8 bars. Now you could do this by changing the step length to 8, but that makes you lose a lot of resolution, and I don't love that on drum tracks. So on the kick, snare, and hi-hat tracks, I've got step count 16 and step length 1, so that's the default. Let's start with the kick track. What I'll do is I'm just going to grab a kick, and let's just do a 4 on the floor to start with. Why not? And I'll take the snare. Let's do that. So we have a 1-bar loop right now. And what I often end up doing, I just recently realized that, is I'll add the trigger sparks and the other sparks, and I'll start off by only adding 1s and 2s, and then I'll gradually change those to 4s and then to 8s. So it kind of expands the pattern as I think of more ways that I might want to add variation. But for now, let's just keep it really simple. Okay, so I'll have that do that every, let's do that every 4th time. Let me layer that for those. I think I messed it up, but that's okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll make it so that this one plays, let's have it the first of every 2. And I'll have this do the first of every 2 as well. And I'll have this happen every other time. Okay, so we're getting there. Right now it's just a 2-bar loop. So let's add something kind of at the end of this. Let's say every 4th time we'll have those play, and we'll have this play all but every 4th time. So I'm using trigger spark very heavily here. In fact, on all of these almost. Okay, cool. And actually I'll make that every 8th time. So now technically this is an 8-bar loop, but I mean, there's going to be a lot more that we do to really get it there. So let's find another snare sound. So what do we have here again? So let's do something that contrasts that. What if I add these here? You know what I'll actually do is I'm going to just add 3 at the end here, and I'm just going to make them fairly unpredictable. So these will only play every 4th, I guess. Oh, you know what? This one will happen every 2nd, and this one will add in every 8th. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these 3, and I'm going to add a multiply 2, but I'm going to add a component spark 9, which means that they will randomly be doubled. That might get a bit too chaotic, so I'm actually going to go ahead and remove that from this middle step here. So every 4th pass, it's going to play kind of some sort of fill here, but the cool part is that we don't necessarily know what it's going to sound like. And just to make things interesting too, let's reverse this last one. And I'll make it so that that happens every 8th time. Oh, does this only play every 8th? No. Oof. Remove that multiply. So we have this kind of fill that isn't totally predictable. You could actually make it more chaotic if you really wanted to. Like I could make it so that it only plays these notes occasionally, which will let me do some kind of more adventurous stuff. And I would, if I had to do that, I would probably just make this one last 4 times as long, and at the end go back to 1, and only do that, say, you know, the first, let's just do it for the example, first of every 2 times. So let's check it out. This is not what I'll end up doing, but I just want to talk about a way that I would make this fill something that the sequencer doesn't always pass over. So you see how that could work, or hopefully you see how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all those from that step. And let's do something interesting with the hi-hat track now. Let's see. Man, I put together this sample pack and I really don't like it. Yeah, I don't like that sound. You know, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to go ahead and go back to what it was before. Okay, so let's see. Can we sneak in? I guess this is kind of a fill. Let's see if we can do something similar on the kick track. Actually, it might be okay like this. Let's see. That happens every 4th. I'll just add one of those again. So I'll have those happen every 8. So maybe I couldn't call this, I don't know if I could call this a 16-bar drum loop, but to me it has enough variation that if I had something interesting enough to put on the synth tracks, or a couple of the synth tracks, this could probably become a whole song. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and add in a really weird bass sound. And I'm going to do a lot of bizarre tricks with this. Let's just kind of get wild with it. Let's go ahead and make this 4 bars. And I'm going to do a bunch of, like I said, tricky stuff here. So I'm going to have 3 distortion tracks. Actually, I'll have 1 distortion, 1 reverb, and 1 chorus. And what I'm doing is I'm actually using my tape track as another effects track. That's a whole nother video though. Okay, so, and I'm going to have my tape track send to the other effects tracks. Make sure my dry levels are up on all of them. And just for now, I'm going to mute all 3 of those, so I can hear what bass sound I'm using, which is going to be a sample, not something that's on your OPC. Let's do that. So maybe now you understand why I don't really perform live, because my timing is horrible. So let's hear how that sounds. Let's go ahead and unmute the tape track, see how it sounds with that. So what I'm actually going to do to add some variations, I'm going to make the effects track an 8-bar loop, and I'm just going to go ahead and going to parameter lock the 4 parameters on the first 4 steps. And one more. Come on. There we go. Okay, so those are all parameter locked. And what I'll do now is I'm going to make this next one, let's just make it way more intense. And so what I'll do is I'm going to add a note on that. So I have something to copy, then I'll put that here, and I've got to double click that note on each of these. And it will save the parameter locks, but remove that note. So kind of neat. Oops. Gotta do it again. I couldn't really hear much of a difference in that one. Is it actually? Yeah, it's receiving the bass. Okay, that's fine. I'll unmute the effects track, so this might get a bit loud. So I'm going to turn down the master send, turn down the synths, turn up the drums. Let's see. Oops. I need to fix the timing. Okay, so let's just delete that for now. God. Oh, you know what? I wonder if the sample's starting late. Is that part of my issue? Okay, let's try that. Okay, so let's try that again then. Okay, so let's go ahead and make it so that, so that send is going to happen almost no matter what. That's fine. And let's, instead of having this be a reverb, let's make this another distortion. And I'm actually going to randomize this preset. Okay, let's randomize this one as well. Okay, so now we've got one instrument that's way too loud. And how do we know that? Let's hit play and hold down track, which will show us the levels. That's clipping. That's definitely clipping. So let's go ahead and see what happens if I reduce the send to the master. Okay, that's still pretty loud. Reduce the gain on the synths especially, and increase the compression. So the synths are still a bit loud, so let's go to the bass track, and I'm going to turn that down. I'll go to the tape track, I'll turn down the volume there. So now maybe I'll actually add a bit of that bass send directly. Okay, so hopefully that kind of helps. I don't know if that actually explained anything, but